There are some celebrities that are easier to work with than others.
Focus! Trust me!
I'm married, bitches.
It just took a lot of leg power.
A pachyderm has been delivered to Nicole Richie's wedding location.
There was a sort of audible intake of breath in the Abbey as he tried to wedge it on.
The only thing that's different is we get to share clothes.
When she came out, I was like, wow.
These are the unforgettable weddings everyone is talking about. We've got never-before-seen footage, revealing behind-the-scenes photos, and inside stories of how these ceremonies went down. This is Fascinating Celebrity Weddings.
It was just really insane.
Weddings. They come in all kinds of shapes, sizes, and price tags, and each one has its own unique style.
He's a man's man, but he looks amazing in a tux, my man.
When Black Eyed Peas singer Fergie married actor Josh Duhamel, she wanted the storybook wedding. Fergie started with a dress.
It was Dolce & Gabbana. It was her dream gown. It had a 40-foot train and was mermaid cut. Josh also wore Dolce & Gabbana, as did the bridesmaids.
The 2009 event was exquisite in every way.
It cost around about $1 million and took place in the most incredible location in Malibu.
Fergie was so thrilled and had said that that was the wedding that she wanted. She wanted an enchanted garden, and we were able to pull that off for her.
The groom's wish list also came true.
Josh loves to fish, and so do his groomsmen. So the location that we picked had a pond, and we brought in trout for the groomsmen to fish at that wedding and for their guests to fish during cocktails.
He loves nature, and she's just a phenomenon, rock princess. He ran down the aisle. He was blushing. I mean, it was so heartfelt.
Fergie and Josh had the most incredible cake. It looked just like a castle with white icing and a blue roof.
And this kingdom featured a room full of rock and roll superstars.
You had Josh singing, you had Fergie singing, you had Kid Rock singing, you had Slash, and it was kind of like a mini concert.
And they were just lovely and beautiful. I mean, there's a lot of love. And she was like, I'm married, bitches. Like, that was so cute.
He's a good husband.
That's a good hubby.
Okay.
I still look down, I'm like, oh my God, I'm engaged, so it's good.
In 2011, Josh's former Vegas co-star, Molly Sims, needed a storybook setting to marry her prince, film producer Scott Stuber. She found it in the wine country.
Napa has been really popular for celebrity weddings. It's an iconic place.
Sims turned to event producer Ifat Oren to make her dream a reality.
When we went to look at the site together for the first time, she said, I want rose petals all down this pathway. Mind you, this pathway was about 10 feet wide and 120 feet long. And I laughed because I thought, is she kidding? It took 6,000 roses. I'm not kidding.
The wedding team pulled that off at an estimated cost of 10 grand. But then they faced another challenge.
The temperature literally dropped 20 degrees the day of the wedding. Turns out, finding heaters last minute in Napa, not so easy. But we did it.
Sims never lost her sense of humor, even as the tightly choreographed ceremony was about to begin.
She grabbed the radio and said, you know, Operation Vineyard Wedding, Operation Vineyard Wedding, and started calling out cues to everybody, to which I said, Molly, let me have the radio back.
The wedding was awesome. We got married under these amazing weeping willow trees, and what was so neat about it, it was a private vineyard, but there was a lake inside of it. So we got married on the lake, and then we got to walk through the vineyard.
We were on the phone one night, and when he started saying that he wanted to spend the rest of his life, I wanted to spend the rest of my life with him.
And next thing I know, she grabbed the calendar, and, you know, we made a date.
R&B recording star Monica and NBA standout Shannon Brown desired an unforgettable ceremony, but wanted it fast.
30 days to get Monica and Shannon's wedding together, which I have to tell you, I love last-minute weddings. We have to decide quick, we have to arrange quick.
Shannon was very involved with the wedding plans. I think his main concern was that the food be great.
Monica knew exactly what the theme should be.
I grew up watching Disney movies, and having children, I watched a lot of Disney movies, so we kind of centered the entire day around a princessy type theme. We had crowns in the flooring and crowns in the wedding invitations.
The location was a former church in Los Angeles.
The reception, the wedding, the cocktail hour, everything was held in that one cathedral.
Monica's custom-made wedding gown featured a 50-pound train.
My dress was very heavy, but I wasn't intimidated by it because in entertainment, we're always wearing things that are never what you would call comfortable. And the dress wasn't uncomfortable. It just took a lot of leg power as I'm trying to walk in 6-inch heels and drag the train behind me.
I knew that dress had a long train, it was kind of heavy, and I just wanted her to, pace herself, take her time, and, not have any bloopers during the wedding.
I was hoping that he liked everything that he saw. I'm a very edgy girl, very direct and live, and I wanted to be a little bit more subdued and a little more like a princess. So I was wondering if he was looking down thinking like, where is my rock and roll chick? I got a princess today.
She was so beautiful. Everything from the dress to, her hair and makeup, and, her smile is beautiful as well. And it just, it took me away.
Monica's 2 young sons took part in the ceremony.
And then it was really special because they gave me away. They asked Romello, did he give mommy to Shannon?
Will you give your mama to be married to Shannon?
He said yes, and I think one of the highlights that just touched my heart is he just runs to him and gives him 5. It's almost like this confirmation. But they all have their own man thing anyway, so they just had a nice man moment.
Yeah.
The reception featured a 5-course gourmet dinner, themed specialty cakes, and Shannon's dream snack, Fat Burgers, served on the dance floor.
Even though I didn't get a chance to get a Fat Burger, everybody was still impressed with that, though. We kept it natural for the people.
Naturally, this storybook tale ended with a kiss.
He's an amazing kisser anyway, so all the kisses have been great.
Husband and wife.
But that one was really special.
Coming up next.
When my clients ask me for elephants, there's always the poop factor.
When it comes to throwing lavish weddings, celebrities know the drill. In 2010, former first daughter Chelsea Clinton married investment banker Mark Mizvinsky. Their 400 guests were treated to an opulent affair in Rhinebeck, New York.
It was held on a 500-acre estate, cost millions of dollars, and even the porta potties cost $15,000.
After Chelsea walked down the aisle in her gown by Vera Wang, the guests enjoyed a fabulous meal. But since Chelsea's dad and mom are government VIPs, the Secret Service followed security protocol.
They have tasters in the dining room. So when the waiters are coming out with the dishes, they'll stop and they'll say, who are you delivering that plate to? And they'll tell you, and they will take that plate and have it moved to someone else.
Even though most of them weren't invited, local residents got into the wedding spirit.
They actually made t-shirts with pictures of the couple on them, and local restaurants served Chelsea cheeseburgers and Mark mocha shakes to any of the fans that had turned up to support this couple on their big day.
Not only does Dylan Lauren run a candy empire, she simply oozes style. No wonder. Her dad is fashion icon Ralph Lauren. He got the call as Dylan prepared to marry investment banker Paul Arroway. Dylan wanted a one-of-a-kind, lavish wedding gown.
There is obviously this extra pressure on this dress because here was Ralph Lauren designing the dress for his first child to get married and his only daughter to go down the aisle.
As these exclusive photos show, Dad delivered the goods.
I thought the dress was perfect for Dylan. It was classic, but it was modern. It felt like Dylan, but it felt like Ralph. And she wore the dress. It didn't wear her. And it had this incredible 9-foot train that was very elegant and made a great entrance, but then it was detachable, so she really could boogie and dance.
The celebration featured plenty of sweets served with over-the-top style.
There were these waiters who were standing in the candy-colored satin vests and white top hats that were embellished with candy dots. And they were holding fun candy drinks, alcoholic, that everyone got to taste as they entered this kind of magical area of this dessert and candy world. And it all worked together to make a really magical evening.
You know, I'm not spoiled, I'm privileged, and I think there's a huge difference in that.
Petra Ecclestone is the daughter of the Formula One CEO, billionaire.
That means Bernie Ecclestone could afford Petra's wedding to businessman James Stunt. The reported price tag for the 2011 event? $5 million.
The Italian castle where she got married was, in fact, the same castle where Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes had married in Rome. So the setting was absolutely spectacular, and so was everything that followed.
That included a custom-made $130,000 Vera Wang wedding dress and plenty of wine at $6,500 a bottle. The 350 VIP guests also enjoyed eye-popping entertainment.
Eric Clapton actually performed their first dance. The Black Eyed Peas performed during the reception. They had acrobatics and fireworks.
The couple told guests to skip gifts in favor of donating to charity. But Petra did get one spectacular present, with a price tag of about $250,000.
Now, it was from her mother. She got a white Rolls-Royce Ghost.
As Petra says, she just wanted a low-key ceremony.
As low-key as I can be, I try.
People say it's so hard to plan one of these. It's not so bad. It's pretty easy.
She has an over-the-top dad, but Ivanka Trump chose to go lavish and dignified for her 2009 wedding to newspaper publisher Jared Kushner.
Ivanka is a very modern bride, but she actually was retrospective in her wedding choice. She had a Vera Wang gown, but it was made to look just like Grace Kelly's.
Ivanka made sure the paparazzi were kept away from the 500 guests at her ceremony.
But she also wanted it to be accessible to her fans, so even though the actual event was very private, she was also very open on her Twitter, keeping her fans informed as she prepared for the big day.
No one was prouder than her pop.
Ivanka got married, and we have a young baron, and we're having a lot of fun.
Nicole, that gorgeous smile! Nicole Richie gave great direction regarding the theme for her 2010 wedding to rocker Joel Madden.
The only thing she really said to me was that she loves the look of Marie Antoinette, that kind of old feeling, old world. Nicole knows what she wants. She's a designer. She has exquisite taste.
It was a Versailles-themed wedding at her father, Lionel Richie's home.
When you can have a wedding at home, instantly you have that feeling of warmth and mush, and no money can buy that.
Nicole said there were two things she wanted for her wedding since she was a little girl. The first was an elephant for good luck.
When my clients ask me for elephants, there's always the poop fact.
Office, and the phone rang, and I heard a pachyderm has been delivered to Nicole Richie's wedding location. Pachyderm is an elephant. It's like, what?
They bring very good blessings and good luck, and I think it adds fertility. Nicole stood next to that elephant, and the trunk came right up to her face for a little kiss, and she just stood there looking as pristine, bride as you can imagine.
Nicole also wanted, just like Ivanka Trump, a wedding gown similar to the one Grace Kelly wore when she married Monaco's Prince Rainier. One big question remained concerning the entertainment.
We didn't know if Lionel was going to sing or not. He didn't tell us. But when he did, it was like he was singing to just a room of his family and friends. If it could have been any more warm, which was pretty impossible, he put the added touch on top of it.
You have to really concrete yourself into the country music industry before you can ask a country superstar to marry you. Otherwise, you're an idiot.
But Blake Shelton asked, and fellow country star Miranda Lambert accepted.
I was in a camo jacket, and that kind of tells you everything you need to know. No makeup, like, really? I could have fixed up if I'd have known, but it worked out. It's okay.
It did work out. You're a really cute couple.
Thank you.
For their May 2011 Texas wedding, Miranda and Blake stuck to their roots.
The guest list was phenomenal. It kind of read like a who's who of the country music world. You had Kelly Pickler, Kelly Clarkson, and even Reba was there.
Everyone was trashed. No, just kidding. No, we were. No, it was so beautiful. Actually, it's one of the most beautiful weddings I have ever been to.
They drove to the ceremony in her own car, a 1955 pickup truck, and Miranda even wore her mother's wedding dress to the event.
It was a beautiful ceremony and everything I wanted, and then the party was out of control. Awesome.
I'm a big Mike Fisher fan.
So much so that country singer Carrie Underwood and hockey player Mike Fisher tied the knot in July 2011.
Carrie Underwood and Mike Fisher got married in Georgia at the Ritz-Carlton Plantation. There were just hundreds and thousands of flowers decorating a tent.
Even her ice skating husband made his mark.
Mike Fisher, of course, plays in the NHL, so in a nod to the groom, the seating assignments were written on hockey pucks.
We had fireworks, and we had awesome food, and it was just dancing. Everybody was out there on the dance floor like that. I'm so happy about that.
Oscar winner Reese Witherspoon also opted for a down-home ceremony when she prepared to wed in April 2011.
Reese Witherspoon married Jim Toth. He's a high-powered talent agent at Creative Artist Agency. Now, this was her second wedding, so everyone was wondering, what it would be like. Would it be small? Would it be big? But Reese Witherspoon chose intimate. So she held it at her Ojai Valley Ranch.
Reese is a Southern girl and proud of it.
Saluting her Nashville roots, a bluegrass band played the Tennessee Waltz, and she walked down the aisle to the traditional wedding march.
But the guest list featured Hollywood's elite.
From Scarlett Johansson to Sean Penn, Matthew McConaughey to Kate Hudson. I mean, it was quite the list.
That's the way I roll.
Shelley Wright scored big as a Nashville singer, but she harbored a secret.
How many times I would fantasize about, I'm just gonna go up there on live TV and just say, I'm a lesbian.
Shelley revealed all in 2010 and soon found love with a gay rights activist.
I met Lauren just very shortly after I came out through my work with GLSEN, the Gay, Lesbian, Straight Education Network.
It was fireworks. We had sunglasses on outside, and we kept taking the sunglasses off, looking at each other, and because there's something about connecting with your eyes.
By the time we had our first date, I knew that she was the one.
With gay marriage now legal in New York, they decided on a civil ceremony.
We went, stood in line on the very first day with 600 other couples. We made history.
But Shelley and Lauren still wanted to share their commitment with friends and family.
The wedding was generously hosted by Lauren's aunt and uncle at their home in Connecticut.
She has a ton of space. The house is beautiful in itself, and there's a barn on the property.
What was the theme of our wedding? Relaxed, not formal.
It was kind of family style, the theme. Like, I loved food, so I thought about food first.
Her dad wanted pigs in a blanket. That was the must-have. We had them. They were kosher, too.
On the big day, both brides were busy preparing.
I dressed in the house, and Lauren was in the barn.
So I was supposed to wait on the porch of the barn for her, and I literally couldn't. I ran to the garage, and I opened the door, and I watched her walking, and I was like, I felt like a schoolgirl. I was like giddy.
I just saw Lauren come out of the barn. I was stunned. It was breathtaking.
One element that day was out of their control.
Let me take you back and take you on a little weather trip.
It was pouring the night before, like torrential downpour at our rehearsal dinner. I mean, sideways rain. And then that morning, too, I'm like, this doesn't look good.
The morning was beautiful, huh?
No, it got really dark in the afternoon.
Did not.
Of our day.
Did not.
There was a second that it was dark.
Okay. I don't know
what. We called it differently. Anyway, went really well.
Agree to disagree?
Agree to disagree.
We would like to share our first dance tonight with all of the same-sex couples who are in the room tonight.
These newlyweds say their marriage is like any other.
The only thing that's different is
we get to share clothes.
That's a good thing.
Coming up,
I mean, I'm really happy to be marrying her and that, but she's an handful, that bird.
The destination weddings are very popular because you can actually bring just your family and your close friends, and you can actually have an intimate event and wedding there. And the paparazzi will most likely stay away from it.
It's always a little surreal to think that people are that interested in what we're doing.
TV personalities Nick Lachey and Vanessa Minnillo pulled out all the stops to keep their 2011 ceremony a secret.
Nick and Vanessa were determined to have a very private wedding, so much so that their friends and family turned up to the airport and then they were presented with their tickets. And it was only then that they realised that Nick and Vanessa were going to get married in the Virgin Isles.
We were on Necker Island, the incredible Sir Richard Branson's island. And in order to keep the airspace private, we pulled a fireworks permit.
By having fireworks, it meant that the wedding was a no-fly zone and none of the paparazzi could fly over in helicopters and take any aerial pictures of the event.
With the location secured, the couple prepared to cut loose.
They wanted the 4 days to be about fun. So one day there was Olympic challenges for their friends.
They actually split up into teams for the event and had their guests competing against one another. Some of their guests even dressed up in sumo wrestling outfits. It was just a very brilliant, fun-filled time for everybody who was invited.
Couldn't have asked for anything more out of the entire wedding experience. It was awesome.
It's really tough, mate, because you want to have something, because it's like a normal wedding. Like, once, you know, like Katie's famous and I'm famous, but like really, she's just some bird and I'm like just some bloke from out in Essex. We've fallen in love, we want to get married. So it turns it into it's a pain in the arse.
At least Russell Brand and pop star Katy Perry found it easy to pick a location.
They knew they wanted to get married in India. That's where they got engaged, and that's where they were going to have their wedding.
During the planning phase, the couple kept everyone guessing.
Have we set a date for the
Yes.
wedding? No.
We're going to be married.
I haven't been told
I'm
this
just going to
date
spring
yet.
it on her.
Some celebrities sell their wedding photos to magazines, but not this pair.
The first thing Katie and Russell said to me, we're not selling it. We don't want it to get it out there anywhere. You kind of have to increase security for that, because if it's not going anywhere, then somebody wants it. And nobody got it.
The paparazzi did get one great photo op of the elephants used in the ceremony.
In India, I say, you can knock on the next door neighbor and say, may I borrow your elephant? We found an elephant for Russell to ride in on, and that elephant was raised with his sister, and they could not be separated. So actually, Russell rode in on one elephant, and there was another elephant right next to them, which I thought was a double blessing.
Unfortunately, the elephants didn't translate into a long marriage. Katie and Russell called it quits at the end of 2011.
Love me?
I love you.
I love you.
Baywatch heartthrob David Charvet and Dancing with the Stars host Brooke Burke are clearly in love. The mother of two had 2 more kids with David during their 6-year engagement. The pair finally decided to take the plunge in an August 2011 Caribbean ceremony.
Welcome to St. Bart's.
I took Brooke to St. Bart's in 1997, and we had this incredible time together for about a week and a half. We always said, you know what, it would be amazing to get married in St. Bart's.
We were already going there on vacation, and he decided, why not just get married while we're there in the middle of our family vacation with our 4 kids.
I try to gather all the information that Brooke has ever given me on how she wanted to be married. I had to find the right flowers. We had to get the types of food that we've always wanted on the boat, the champagne. So
Find the right boat.
I had to find the right boat, and I try to put that in to this little special day. I had to drive the dress at 6 o'clock in the morning while the island was kind of sleeping, so that no one would get the idea that we were actually getting married that day. And as much as I wanted to peek inside and kind of look at the dress, I didn't. I was a good boy.
Well, it was a little stressful getting ready because quarters were pretty tight, and I got ready in a room down below that was very hot. And I remember I couldn't do my hair, I couldn't blow dry my hair.
When she came out, I was like, Wow.
With their kids as witnesses, Brooke and David said their vows.
We didn't take them out of a book. They were words that were really meaningful, and to do it before our children and to sort of seal this commitment that we have to each other and to make it real and to become a wife and to have a husband, that was a big deal for me.
When I was looking into her eyes and we were saying our vows, I think it's a changing moment for a man. This is my wife, and I have to, protect her and honor her for the rest of the time that she'll have me.
The family joined together for one final ritual.
We wrote a message and sent off a message in a bottle, and the kids really loved that, and they felt really special to be part of something so important. And
We are
corny.
corny.
It was a little corny.
A little corny.
Well, it could have been a lot cornier.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It wasn't like the big extravaganza, you know, it was like, we're a little corny.
A little.
How are the wedding plans? They are very, very in the early stages. Nothing's set in stone.
Some weddings feature a twist that no one sees coming. Former American Idol contestant Kelly Pickler planned a huge ceremony with songwriter Kyle Jacobs.
We had went through the whole planning, picked the church and the food and the flowers and the cake, and it just wasn't us. Every time we got to the guest list, we were like, we hate half of these people, but we have to invite them because of obligation, so let's elope.
In a twist that shocked everyone, the couple jetted down to Antigua and said their I-dos alone at the ocean.
I didn't know we were gonna get married in the water. I thought we were just gonna be on the beach and sand. And when I got out there, I was like, oh, Lord, I gotta hike my dress up and run out there. And we were like a football field. And we got out on a sandbar. It was about ankle deep. It was so romantic. It was just us. And there was no distractions. There was nothing to get caught up in or anything like that or lose focus of what we're here for. It was all about he and I making a covenant with God, making the vows to spend the rest of our lives together. And that's what we did, and that's what we're gonna do. And we're very, very, very happy.
We're just gonna be really like casual and easygoing about it. Yeah, we're gonna try and enjoy it, yeah.
That was the idea in 2010 when Hilary Duff prepared to marry hockey star Mike Comrie. But her easygoing day became a bride's nightmare.
And so I'm just chowing down on a bagel, a soft, nice bagel, and I like spit my tooth out in my hand and freak out. It was
that
horrible.
bagel doesn't sound so soft.
It was. I swear to God, it was not like toasted, crunchy, or anything.
That's when Hilary's wedding planner leaped into action.
I was able in Montecito to call this dentist who came in Saturday morning early. We snuck Hilary in the car because there were a lot of paparazzi waiting outside of the hotel. And she was laughing all the way there and making fun of what the pictures would have looked like with part of her tooth missing. And she had a great sense of humor. And she knew that we were going to get it fixed.
Nobody was laughing during the wedding when paparazzi helicopters interrupted the ceremony.
Our pastor steps out from underneath the little like flowered arbor thing and holds up like a fake Uzi or like a big gun, like a little boy style, and starts like blasting at the paparazzi in front of all of our guests. Like,
oh my gosh, that is really stupid.
I don't think men would get married if they had their choice.
Former Playboy playmate Shannon Tweed didn't think she'd ever walk down the aisle. She spent nearly 3 decades with Kiss frontman Gene Simmons raising their 2 kids. But then the marriage-shy performer finally popped the question.
I wasn't sure, whether I wanted to really just sort of push him into the water or try.
The 54-year-old bride-to-be found herself swamped with wedding details.
First of all, everybody, wanted to know everything right away, and I had no answers, and I've never done it before, so I've been to maybe 2 weddings in my life.
But picking her dress was easy.
I didn't have to have an original that no one else in the world had. You know what I mean? Like, it just was so simple to see a dress off the rack and wear it. It doesn't have to be the only one in the world like it.
The night before the wedding, the couple checked into the hotel where the ceremony would take place.
We stayed in separate rooms, and I was going to sneak into his room, and I put on my robe, and I loosened it up real sexy, and I walked down the hall, and I knocked on the door, and a girl answered. Just about got my gun, but I knocked on the wrong door.
veil. Pick your veil. Let's see.
On the big day, which was taped for the family's reality show, the excitement escalated.
It was like, I'm putting on my wedding dress. This is never going to happen again. I'm putting on my wedding dress. I'm putting on my wedding dress. It's really cool, you know?
After waiting 28 years, Shannon still felt some insecurities.
Can you believe we're here?
I can.
I wanted to make sure in his heart of hearts that Gene was getting married because he wanted to, and not because everyone was expecting him to now. I just thought he looked at peace and calm.
Are you nervous? Nope.
And I thought, why am I nervous? And he's calm.
And then came the trip down the aisle.
It was a long time coming, that walk, and I never expected to be able to hold it together, actually. As soon as the music started, I was about to lose it. And I see Gene standing there, and it's just so perfect. You know, my family's there waiting, and Gene's looking, and he's happy. It's just so perfect. I want to cry. And Mom's like, no. You're going to be all puffy. You have to keep it together. You have pictures to take. I'm like, okay.
I was kind of just waiting for something to go wrong. I had like a doom cloud over the whole thing. I was like, this is a lot of moving parts. There's chandeliers in the tree. That can't be good. A branch will snap. Someone's gonna get crushed by the tree. But nothing happened.
And do you promise to love and respect him as long as you both shall live?
He made me wait for this for a long, long time. And there was a perfect moment there where I thought I'd collect my thoughts and just think over what the officiant had just said to us. Gene always taught me, make sure you read the contract, listen to it. And was there anything in there that I objected to? And did they say that obey word? Don't think they did. I do. I do.
Your husband and wife, and now you can kiss your beautiful bride.
When the officiant said, I'm proud to announce Mr. and Mrs. Gene Simmons, I just went, wait, I just wanted to say it again, I missed it, wait.
Their first dance featured daughter Sophie singing At Last.
I think it was a pretty appropriate song. It's 28 years later, and at last, they're getting married. Like, no one likes to see their parents cry, but I think in this case, it was a good thing.
Gene used to want me to reassure him that I wouldn't change after we got married. He was afraid that, we would be different. And I would say, no, why would it be different? We're still us. But honestly, it's totally different. In some weird way, it's a more solidified, unified, comfortable feeling. Very, very nice.
I'm honored to be your wife.
Coming up.
It was the craziest experience. It was just really insane.
You see that ring? That's it, I'm taking.
On The View, comedienne Sherry Shepherd couldn't stop talking about her man and her wedding. She met Lamar Sally, a TV writer, at a friend's party.
I kept seeing this one guy. He was 6'6", he was like almost 300 pounds. He was huge. And I was not even interested, but he was just funny all throughout the night.
There was no Hollywood about her. The niceness went away when we started playing Taboo. And she was trying to win. And I was like, okay, I wonder if that aggressive, transfer over to other areas,
My girlfriend, Niecy Nash, she says, Sal likes you because you're loud and competitive, which is not the way you get a girl by saying you're loud and competitive. But was not interested, snuck out the house. He called me like a couple days later. We ended up talking for about 6 hours.
The couple discovered they had a special bond, which eventually led to planning their big day. The bride demanded a blowout bachelorette party, complete with a male stripper.
All I wanted was Chocolate Thunder. That's it. I'm just gonna give you the visual. What do you think Chocolate Thunder looks like? Exactly. It wasn't Chocolate Thunder, it was more like, Filipino sprinkles.
I need your
attention at this time. Looks like I'm gonna have to go downtown.
He picked up 170 plus pounds of me and threw me around in every which way. I just kept hoping my wig didn't fall off. That's the only thing. I was like, oh, please don't let the wig fall off.
Sherry had some other requirements.
My must-have list for the wedding was pretty short. Number one, I wanted a choreographed bridal dance.
Yeah, that was the only time she became a bridezilla.
I saw on YouTube some prisoners in Thailand. They were doing this like a choreographed Michael Jackson dance. And I was like, oh my gosh, if the prisoners in Thailand can get a choreographed dance, certainly these 8 girls and these 8 guys can get a dance together.
It was a little difficult to learn because we're not dancers, none of us. We got bad knees and bad backs, and it was a little hard.
We put a lot of work into this bridal party dance. It came off pretty good, if I say so myself.
But learning those steps wasn't Sherry's only concern.
I was worried about if I would fit into my wedding dress, because when I went to the last fitting with Elizabeth Hasselbeck, I actually had lied to the people about my size, because there's this thing, you have this fantasy size, and you think you're gonna fit in that fantasy size by the time the wedding rolls around, but really you should give them your real size, maybe even up that a little bit. I was a little worried about if they'd be able to take it out and, you know, put some extra material in there. They did.
Come Sherry's wedding day, nothing was more important than having her son give her away.
When we got down to the end of the aisle, Jeffrey took my hand and he put it inside of Sal's. And then he took my face and he kissed it. And then he pulled Sal's face down to his and he kissed Sal.
The ceremony was videotaped for a TV special, but some of the equipment didn't cooperate.
I could feel this mic pack slipping. I started screaming, my mic pack. So Elizabeth Hasselbeck is grabbing the mic packs and I go, Elizabeth, I don't have any underwear on. And this is where you know she was on Survivor, because she goes, focus, trust me. I shut up and she fixed my mic pack. She shoved it back up in my corset. Nobody could see the little snafu and it went great. And I wear underwear from now on.
Woo! Mary!
I think no matter what advice you get, there's nothing that can prepare yourself for something like this.
There's been plenty of drama since Kim Kardashian's wedding, but back on the big day, it was the dress that had everyone buzzing.
The Kardashian wedding was the event of the year, and we knew it was going to be a huge event and a big get to get any kind of pictures of Kim in her dress.
The amount of security guards we had at this wedding was a bit. The desire by paparazzi to get a shot was unbelievable.
We knew it was going to be tough getting any shot of Kim coming down the aisle, so what better way to get the best view than from the air?
We covered the whole wedding ceremony area, so it was impossible to get that shot.
We dispatched helicopters with photographers hanging out.
You could certainly, see them, and you could definitely hear them.
We had to walk out of the room, and we were leaving from the house onto the area where I was going to walk down the aisle, so we had to cover everything with umbrellas everywhere, get into a golf cart, have the golf cart have sheets over it. It was the craziest experience. It was just really insane.
There's apocalypse now going on overhead, and the helicopters and the photographers climbing over walls. So to have this whole thing unfold in front of you and you're going, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Kim Kardashian made sure to line the entire entrance with white chiffon fabric. Problem is that with intense light, you can see through the fabric. I don't think they had that in mind, because all of a sudden, what do we have in our X17 agency? A shot of Kim and her stepdad, Bruce Jenner, walking down the aisle. And that's a big get, and we got it.
Royal weddings. They feature kings and queens, princes and princesses, and even an occasional knight. He became Sir Paul McCartney in 1997, but he's always been rock and roll royalty. By 2008, things were clearly serious between Paul and American Nancy Chevelle. Nancy's family owns a successful trucking business, and the two were longtime friends. They tied the knot at the same place Paul wed his late wife, Linda.
Paul and Nancy got married at Marylebone Registry Office. It was a very small ceremony. It was far, far away from the kind of pomp and glamour of a lot of these celebrity weddings. They only had about 30 friends and family in attendance.
The couple celebrated at Sir Paul's London mansion.
It was quite the party. Police officers were actually called to the residence and asked by neighbors if they would tell the McCartneys to kind of lower the music because the party just got so out of hand and loud.
But after that, Paul could still be heard. He apparently performed a song that he had written just for his new wife, so it was meant to be lovely.
But there was another London wedding in 2011, the one that dominated the headlines.
The wedding of the century is, of course, Will and Kate.
The mood in London was just very, very jubilant. Everyone was very happy.
People want a spectacle. They don't want something that's done on the cheap.
The royal extravaganza of William and Catherine grabbed the world's attention from the get-go.
We're looking forward to spending the rest of the time, the rest of our lives together.
I'm obsessed with the royal wedding.
Oh, you are
obsessed with it? Yes, I bought every magazine with Kate, even in it. It's a real life princess, you know?
I'm trying to be Prince Harry's date to the royal wedding, and I haven't gotten my invite, and I'm really annoyed.
Royal wedding invitations are the subject of intense protocol. Officials at Buckingham Palace presented William and Kate with a massive list of strangers they were expected to invite.
Prince William knew there was someone who could help him out of this situation, so he picked up the phone and talked to his grandmother, the Queen, and said, "Help, what do I do with this list of names? Do I really have to ask all these people?" To which she said, "Well, no, actually, you can, start with your friends."
The Queen wasn't the only royal watching William's back. He could also count on brother Harry's help when Kate entered Westminster Abbey.
As William's standing at the altar, sort of Harry's whispering in his ear, counting the bride up the aisle as if she's a sort of incoming missile, sort of going, 100 yards and closing, 50 meters and closing.
But when the time came to give Kate her custom-made gold wedding ring, the groom was on his own.
William tried to get Kate's wedding ring on and he couldn't actually get it over her finger. There was a sort of audible intake of breath in the Abbey as he tried to wedge it on.
It's thought that Kate's fingers had actually swollen due to the adrenaline and due to the excitement of the day, and that's why William had trouble putting it on.
And in the end, he did manage to get it on, so it was all fine. But yeah, it was a bit hairy there for a second.
The royals were also forced to contend with the media, including professional lip readers hired by the press.
It's pretty unfortunate for the participants if they've just got to go through their entire wedding day just speaking like this and not saying anything, or through whispered hands. It just goes with the territory of having a very, very famous, very, very exciting wedding.
When it was all over, the newlyweds went for a spin in a classic sports car.
It was really, really special. They had a just married plate on the back.
Only one slight problem, everything was sort of juddering a bit. And everyone was sort of going, oh, what's happened to the car? But he's left the brake on. So he may be very good at flying helicopters, but he's still got a bit to learn about Aston Martins.
Celebrity weddings. They can be extravagant or simple. They can feature guest lists packed with celebrities or just close friends and family. In the end, the goal is always the same: for the couple to live happily ever after.